came without warning. Made our children your slaves. Made our world a war zone. But we do not fight alone. And our battle is not lost. So here's our warning to you. Get the hell off our planet.
What's your name?
I'm Dan.
Dan Noah.
Nice to see you.
And you?
Well, first of all, let me just start with a huge congratulations on this show.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, this is like... I have to watch a lot of stuff, obviously, for what I do, and there's never enough time in the day. They sent me the first 5 episodes for this. I've watched it twice, and I don't have time to do that, but it's so good, and it's so nice to see a show that is embracing technology. It looks amazing, but it has a story, and it has characters and development, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
I thank you very, very much. That's unbelievably rewarding to hear.
Right from the beginning, it was Steven's design of this show, and I think Robert Rodat realized that very coolly in the pilot, that this was to be a show about humans dealing with the trauma of an alien invasion. And in that respect, it gave us a direction to go in, but also a little bit of freedom, because the science fiction of this show, which is huge, it's a huge mythology, it's lots of stuff that's going on there, but it really is to service the human drama that we're talking about. And I think that the secret of Falling Skies and its popularity is that we are really rooting for this group of characters to be able to survive this huge, crazy trauma, which just happens to involve really ugly-looking aliens.
Obviously, I have several friends that are on other shows, and creators of shows, and writers on shows, and they all like tease and warn, watch out for the 3rd season. It can be tricky, sometimes that's when that lull first hits. And I think we dodged the bullet. The thing I really like about this 3rd season is we have so many storylines that are going on at the same time. Usually there's about 1, 2, maybe 3 things going on that are sort of intriguing and mysterious, whereas this season we start up with 4 or 5 that you're really concerned for the different characters that you've now spent 2 seasons with, and seeing how these things play out really makes good stories out.
I think in a weird way we've sort of figured out the show now. That in the first season we had a really good idea and we didn't know quite how to execute it. That we learned a lot of lessons in that first season about what worked well and what didn't work as well for us. In the second season we built on that momentum and had a really satisfying second season and avoided a sophomore slump. And then that gave enough confidence to the network and the studio to really amp up our budget in a lot of areas. So the 3rd season's just bigger. It's just the narrative is blown out. We're embarking on a lot of different storylines at the same time. Our special effects budget was augmented so that the effects are even bigger and more exciting than they've ever been before. And we know who these characters are now. And as a result, the show has an anchor in truth and believability because of who we've already established these characters to be. So we're able to go out farther on the string in our storytelling because we have good roots to come back to.
I think we did a really good job this year. I mean, I don't even feel like I can take credit. They did a really good job. It's definitely like our pacing has picked up. I think the storylines are tighter. I think the CGI has really kind of kicked up a notch. And Cochise is, to me, like our best surprise. Did you like that?
I loved it.
Doug Jones?
I loved it.
Well, isn't he cute, by the way?
He's adorable. I mean, yeah.
Now, he's a warrior, but he's also quite charming to me. When you're doing something like this, when I go to a Starbucks like this, I don't get bothered. Not that it would be a bother. If somebody recognizes me because they've watched DVD, behind-the-scenes footage or something, or seen interviews of me, like this one, it's a welcome thing when somebody says, "Excuse me, are you Doug Jones?" I'll be like, that's a fan. If they had to dig for this face, I know they've put their heart and soul into finding me.
You certainly don't want to rely on all the tricks of the green screen and technology, and then not have a base, not have like a real weighty, like good story, because ultimately, those are kind of cheap tricks that kind of can get old. Science fiction fans are pretty sophisticated, so you need to have a good story plot, and it needs to be full and really luscious and well layered.
Well, when we left the character at the end of season 2, he was pretty adamant about not wanting to assume any more responsibility than he'd already had. And the second mass was resolved to leave Charleston behind and go and strike out on their own. And then they go outside and these things start falling from the sky and these new aliens show up, and that's how we left it. So we took a lot of big gambles dramatically coming back in the third season by initiating some very big storylines and playing with the 7-month time jump between where we left the characters to where we find them. We find my character, the President of the United States. We find that there's been an alliance forged with these new aliens. We find that my son is paralyzed but also has an eye worm. We find that the baby might have something wrong with it. We find all sorts of stuff going on.
I was told by Rami Obashan, our writer, our head writer, at Comic-Con last year that he had finally figured out what we were going to do with the bug going from my eye to the ear. And he says, all right, man, you're going to be paralyzed. I looked back at him, I said, for how long? We're going to get out, right? And he said, well, don't worry about that. It's all going to be fine. And so I was a little worried, but I knew that was going to give a whole wealth of information and things to play for the character that were going to be more mental and psychological. The trick was going to be that Hal's a very physical guy, and that's how he knows himself. But in that opening sequence when I'm up on top of the Hummer and I'm shooting the two 50 caliber machine guns, and explosions are going all around, I didn't feel like I missed a step on being an action star. I was like, okay, I'm going to be all right.
I think the writers of this show just worked their butts off to create a new species of alien that is not to be feared for once on this show. Yeah, they haven't had good luck with alien species up until now. So here's one who's actually here to help. And what I bring with me is an intellect and some know-how and some history and some technology that the humans don't have, so I can help them fight off the Ishveni we upped the game a little bit this year.
Fans who watch this show are such fans that it's okay that it takes a year to get more episodes. It's okay that when we do get new episodes, it's
Tell
10
that to my
shows.
mother. Oh my God.
I mean, trust me, I want more. We definitely want more, and we want them faster. But there's something about the show that people respond to that they will wait that time and still be excited to watch it. What do you think it is about the show that has made that possible?
Well, there's no way around it. The post-production time on these episodes is so extreme that we can't physically make more than, I think we could do 12. I think 14 would be a stretch, but there's no way we could do 22 of these and keep to the air date pattern that we're on because these things take so long in post-production. And again, as we started the interview, it's very gratifying to hear that people feel that way, that they're able to wait a year. I don't exercise that same patience. When my last Mad Men is on, my last Game of Thrones, or my last Breaking Bad, I get really pissed off.
Whenever you watch a Spielberg film, and without being corny, I think he is the ultimate optimist. Even through like anything you watch, there's always that silver lining. There's that through line where no matter what happens, I think you know what it is? I think with Spielberg, he must be not only an optimist, but he must be like an idealist. You know, someone who believes in like the American dream. And probably the storyline always ends with like that feeling that we're going to like persevere, no matter how the odds are against you. Even when you watch like Schindler's List. So I'd like to think that's why our show has that silver lining. Definitely because of Spielberg.
One of the aspects that makes this show unique is that we try to turn things on its head a lot, and we fight really hard against the obvious and the cliche. I'm sure every show, I doubt there's shows that actually are trying to get the cliches, but the one thing that always keeps us going is the sense that heart and love are the most powerful weapons that humans possess. And yeah, our weapons budget is outrageous. We go through thousands of bullets, but those aren't the real important tools that the second mass has to fight the Ishveni. And in the end, I hope that what we'll see is that our spirit, whatever that is, the human spirit, is what eventually makes us triumphant.
Our greatest hour
Our fight. Our future starts now.